Mm-hmm. Live on YouTube. Mm-hmm. All right, what's good, everybody? So we're just gonna get started in a few minutes. Nice to see everybody here. Glad you could make it. Take this time, about maybe 4 or 5 minutes, just to get your materials ready. Have your pens, pencils, markers, and plenty of paper. So we can get down to business. Hopefully everybody's out there staying healthy, staying masked up, staying parelled up. It's so crazy. They have so much like hand sanitizer on the shelves nowadays. It's like some people think, hey, we got the vaccine, so we don't have to worry about nothing. Oh yeah, and another thing, while we're kind of waiting for people to kind of fall in, you can write in the chat, tell me where you're from. Where do you hail from? Ooh, Orlando, Iowa City, Cleveland, Portland, Ontario, Chicago, hey, Annapolis, Maryland, Minneapolis, Minnesota, North Vancouver, far out. Nice, nice. Jakarta. Whew. Is it like in the middle of the day over there? I know they're in a different time zone, but salute y'all for coming on to this chat, coming on to this Zoom from way out there, far out. I'm actually, this is live from St. Louis. So I'm curious, do we have any people from the Lou in here? Probably not. I probably might be the only one. Ah, okay, cool. What's up, Emily? All right, then. So I guess we'll kind of get started in 3, 2, 1, boom. What's good, everybody? Welcome to Draw 50 Emotions with Dmitri Jackson. I'm obviously Dmitri Jackson, and I appreciate you for joining me this evening for this fun little workshop challenge we got. Shout out to The Believer for setting this up, especially Kristen Radke and Lily and everybody there at the Believer for making this thing happen. We're gonna have a good time tonight. So I don't want to waste too much of your time. We're gonna get down to it. So I'm going to share my screen real quick, and hopefully my computer doesn't crash on me. So let's see. All right, so let's see, not quite yet. It's gonna try to do something funky, but I got it. Got it under control. So give me a thumbs up if you can see the slide. All right, awesome. So like I said before, this is Draw 50 Emotions. We're talking about body language and expression in comics. And again, all levels of drawing experience are welcome. So let's get down to it. All right, so who in the world is Dmitri Jackson? Well, you know something? I'm pushing 40 and I still haven't figured out that question, but I can take a wild guess. I'm an illustrator and a comic book artist. These two samples here, some of my more recent work of the past decade. I work mainly for like magazines and alternative news weeklies. One of my favorites is the one on the right, Riverfront Times. That's a St. Louis-based news weekly there. One of my illustrations there. And yeah, one of the themes I explore in my work is music. And this illustration here I did back in 2013 for Consequence of Sound. It's an online music publication based in Chicago. And this was an illustration for The Strokes and the album they were releasing at the time, Come Down Machine. Highly recommended, very underrated album. And this recent one was for St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Is about the difficulty a lot of doctors experience with balancing work and life. And so our lonely hero here is kind of suffering the clash of both worlds. And some of you guys may have seen this on the Believer magazine website for the logger. This was an illustration about the writer, shout out to Nicholas Russell, and his experience with participating in the protests this past summer and some of the connections he makes between the energy of the protests and the energy he gets from listening to 9 Inch Nails. So that's Trent Reznor in the background, leading the charge. Shout out to Nicholas Russell. And this is my work right here. This is my most current project, Black Wax Boulevard. It's a web comic that really is for the music nerds and all of us. These two pages here kind of represent some of the things that I like to explore in my art, mixed media, collage, the way music culture is really visual culture. And you could consider nostalgia as something exhilarating or something suffocating. And the comic kind of explores that gray area. And also, you can find the link to the website, to the webcomic in the chat. So, all right. So, what is body language? Well, according to Webster, it's the process of communicating non-verbally through conscious or unconscious gestures and movements. Now, in comics, you could boil this down to the method in which a character and the emotional state of that character is visually communicated, right? Now, it's not just about the emotional state of that one character. Body language can also be used to establish relationship dynamics between multiple characters. And it can make the difference between a visually compelling comic and a dull, lifeless one. Now, of course, perspective plays an important part in drawing environments, in realizing them. It's with human anatomy, it's the same relationship with body language. Knowing the basics of human anatomy can go a long way in making your work more exciting and more captivating and engaging. So the principles of B-L&E, right? Well, the first main principle is character acting, and you can kind of break that down into two sub-principles, okay? So the first sub-principle, 1A, if you will, is the micro-expression of the character. So that's emphasizing the face, the eyes, the nose, the ears, the mouth, the hair. If you're drawing a character with a nervous expression on the face, how do we get that emotion? How do we understand that emotion through the features on the face? How do the eyes look? How do the nose look? Are the eyes really, big with nervousness? Are they really beady and small? Same thing with thinking about the nose or the ears or the mouth. Is it trembling with fear, or is it just stone straight and stiff with shock or whatever? You know what I mean? So thinking about how you can, or even like the hair, maybe the hair is wavy with nervousness, just thinking about how you can break down the different parts of the face and make it convey the emotion that you want to get across. So that's micro expression. Then there's macro expression. That's when the entire body gesture gives clues to emotion. We're talking posture, we're talking shoulders, hands, feet, leg positions, even clothing. Possible environmental influences, and when you start talking about environmental influences, that's when you start getting into the realm of telling a story, telling a narrative, even if it's with just one image. You know what I mean? Yeah. And there's a lot of like terrain you can explore, even with just macro expression. Now, the second main principle, symbols. They are part of your arsenal as well. The first sub-principle, you could say, is emanata. Now, some of you guys may know what emanata is if you're steeped into the comics, but for those that don't, emanata, long story short, it's elements that express information that's not visible in real life. In our case, emotions. And you can see on the left, you see all these different faces here. You see a surprise face, exclamation marks hovering over, curiosity, question mark, or they're in love, little hearts, or if they're dizzy, these stars sort of swinging around. And then past emanata, there's oculama. Those are the substitution for eyes to convey an emotion. So down here, you kind of see, this person is in love. You see hearts over their eyes. If they're greedy, have a desire for money and riches, got dollar signs, or if they're just completely mesmerized, hypnotized, little swirls for eyes. And if they're dead, X's. Now, so on the side here, this is kind of like a character expression sheet from Ren and Stimpy. I will not say the creator's name, but you know who he is. But the one thing that I will give the creator of Ren and Stimpy credit for is the idea that you should never draw the same face twice. The practice of pushing the shape of the facial and body features on your character beyond their normal state to really expand the vocabulary of emotion in the character was really key in some of the best animated stuff on that show. And even the work that inspired him, which we'll kind of get into. But the idea of thinking about how many different kinds of the same emotion can you draw? How many different kinds of laughing? How many different kinds of crying? How many different kinds of angry? And how many different combinations of micro and macro expression can you draw for your character? So we'll kind of go into examples that we see in the world. So Robert Clampett, one of the great cartoonist animators in the Looney Tunes, Warner Brothers, he was a main inspiration for the guy behind Ren and Stimpy, right? And you can see here some classic animated stills really do a good job in emphasizing the elasticity of the body and the face in conveying emotion. He's going in for the kill. This guy is really dangerous and formidable looking, real tough. And then there's the classic SpongeBob SquarePants. Great example here of the many different expressions that we've come across with SpongeBob. He's like a giant vault of expression. By the way, this is perhaps my favorite of his expressions. That's the moment he finds out Squidward loves Krabby Patties. Classic expression. I love it. And then there's, okay, so this is Craig Thompson. These are some pages from his classic autobiographic memoir, Blankets, back from 2002. So we see these two pages here. We kind of follow, in the beginning of the story, we follow Craig as he's growing up, the sort of weird things he goes through in school and the relationships he has with his family, with his friends, with teachers. So these two pages here, we see him and his brother kind of having a fight on the bed. They can't share the bed properly and they're fighting, getting angry. And then on the right, we see Craig getting an F in class, and the teacher is rendered as a very subhuman kind of monster. She's mean and all that, but we see a more heightened exaggeration in the body language and in the emotion in their face. And then as we go on further into the story, we see him growing up. He's a teenager. He's discovering love. He's coming to terms with his religious upbringing. And these are much more sophisticated and nuanced emotions and situations that he's experiencing. So the emotions on his face register in a much more subtle fashion. And this is a really good example of matching the level of exaggeration in body language to the tone that you want to set with your story, if you're a comic book artist, as well as the emotional maturity of the characters. So before I go into the prompt, I just want to make a disclaimer. Don't let the number 50 scare you. That's just the number chosen for sensationalistic purposes in advertising this workshop. Many of you will not even get to even 30 or 20 emotions and faces, but that's not the main point of this workshop. The main purpose is to get you guys into what I call the zone of drawing. That's sort of the mental space where you guys can like generate a steady, almost unconscious flow of work to a point where it feels natural and it's unbound by crippling perfectionism. You're not sitting there wondering, oh, I gotta get this right. I gotta get this right. Oh, that's not good. No, it's kind of like free writing when you're in a freshman comp class. They tell you just whatever's in your head, put it on the paper, right? It's about getting you loose and relaxed in exploring body grammar and expressive faces, okay? So step one, I want you to first take plenty of sheets of letter size paper. Hopefully you got that. And step two, choose one emotion. It can be any emotion out there. It can be happy, sad, nervous, frightened, or tired, or whatever. Just choose one emotion. And so for the next 5 minutes, I want you to draw that emotion in at least 5 different ways. Try to shoot for 10, right? And don't worry about making it pretty. Don't worry about making a perfect drawing. Just keep it quick and sketchy for time's sake, because I want you to kind of keep moving fast and to a point where you're not actually just, you're not crippled by perfectionism, right? Now you can focus on the micro or the macro, or it can be a combination thereof to get your first 10, right? So then step 4, I want you to, after that, take 10 minutes, choose another emotion, and draw that in 5 to 10 different ways. So the same thing as step 3. Now you may find yourself stumped on one emotion, and that's okay, because you can choose a different emotion to work with and see where you go from there, right? And then step 5, 10 minutes here as well. At this point, I just want you to look at what you've drawn so far. See where you can combine different emotions to create a more nuanced expression. So if you've drawn happy and then you've drawn tired, see if you can draw like different versions of happy tired. You know, how many different ways can a nuanced emotion be expressed? Can you actually reach 50 emotions, right? So I'm going to, ready, set, go. But I'm going to time everybody. So I have 6:20 on my clock. I'm going to stop sharing just so I can see my clock. Okay, so I got about 6:19, 6:20 on my clock. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to do the first step, and that's choose your emotion, draw it 5 to 10 different ways. And then we'll put our pencils down and then we'll do the next step. All right, so go. Okay, pencils, pens, and markers down. All right, so now first, I want you guys to take a deep breath. Okay, that was step 3. Now step 4, you have 10 minutes to choose a different emotion. And same thing, draw that 5 to 10 different ways. Again, if you feel stumped on the emotion you chose, choose another one and keep it moving from there. 10 more minutes. All right, so from 6:25 to about 6:35, we'll see what's popping then. All right, ready and go. All right, so about 1 more minute. Get your last lines and dots and dashes in. Okie dokie. All right, so pens and pencils, markers down. Take a deep breath and breathe out. All right, now the final step. I want you to look at what you've drawn so far. Look at your two different emotions. Some of you may have done 3 emotions. That's okay. Look at everything you've done. See what you can combine. What emotions on the faces that you've drawn, what can you combine together to create something totally new, a third different emotion, a more nuanced emotion, all right? So 10 minutes of that, and then again, see where you can go, see how many you can draw from that, from those combinations, all right? So from here till 6:45 on my clock, so 10 more minutes, and go. All right, so roughly 1 more minute. And then after the minute's up, we'll do a little share time. All right, so pens, pencils, markers down. And let's take a deep breath. And exhale. All right. You guys did it. Okay, so we're going to do a little sharing, and I'll start with some drawings I did. So my first emotion I wanted to push myself a little bit this time. So instead of choosing like something like happy or sad, I chose tired. So hopefully you can kind of see what I drew. This is tired. I only got to like roughly like 5-ish faces. You know, I kind of started with the simple go-to one. And then I started thinking more about the context behind the emotion of tired. So I started thinking about what they might be wearing, what I could suggest in terms of where they are, their environment, you know. So there's, you know, a woman with a couple babies. She's looking kind of like she needs to lie down a little bit. And then we have like the boxer here. He's wobbling the knees, you know. That's kind of what my mind was going towards at that one. Okay. So then the second emotion I chose, now this one's a little bit more tricky. This was surprise. Surprise / shocked. I don't know. There's a range of emotions you can get with that term surprise. So this is kind of what I came up with. You know, there's regular surprise, you know, the default we always think of. But then there's, you know, maybe a different kind of surprise. Maybe it's something shocking and sad. Maybe it's something happy, like a happy surprise. And then I'm thinking about like how the body looks in terms of surprise. So the macro, we go from the micro to the macro here, right? And then of course, you know, there's the exclamation points for eyes. So trying to combine tired and surprise, that was a big one. That was a tricky one for me. This is the best I could do. Sort of stretching my brain to see what I could come up with. You know, maybe there's a guy, you know, he's tired and sleepy, and then a surprise makes him cock one eye open. Or maybe this guy's been, I don't know, he's been in line at the GameStop for that next Call of Duty game, and the door's open, and his eyes are all bloodshot. I don't know, for some reason, tired and bloodshot eyes kind of, you know, went together for me. I don't know about you guys, but then here's a tired old man walking and a bird pooping on him. So when you're dealing with more like complex emotions like tired and surprise, there's a lot you could dig into there. So a lot of it can depend on context. That's the one thing I learned. But yeah, some of you guys may have had an easy time coming up with stuff. So I'd like to give the time to you to see if you guys, any of you guys be willing to share what you drew. Can you hear me? Somebody said, is your mic on? Yep, it's on. Okay, cool. So anybody like to share? Who's that? Francis? Go for it. Can you mute your, let me see. Ask to unmute.
I'm here.
Okay.
Thank you.
There you go. Holla.
I also chose a similar tired, overwhelmed. You know, I actually had to go to thesaurus.com. Like tired, overwhelmed, weary, jaded. I don't know. I was like all that
No,
whole.
That's a smart idea. That's a smart idea. Get the dictionary.
Yeah, I mean, mostly just I'm just tired. So anyway, so I cheated and I only drew one emotion and I just did it really slowly. So
No worries. Show me what you got.
I combined weary and overwhelmed, which are synonyms. And I just posed on this Zoom and I just was drawing myself because I was the easiest, subject available. So here I am feeling weary and overwhelmed. And I just tried 2 different body positions and then just the eyes.
Okay.
So,
cool.
okay.
Cool. Let's see. Tenley Yavna. I think hopefully I pronounced your name right. You want to share? If you can unmute yourself, maybe. But if not, we can go to somebody else. Now. We can go to someone else and come back to you. So let's see. Who are we looking at here? All right.
Hi.
Tell us your name.
My name is Alice.
Okay, what's up, Alice? Show us what you got.
Okay, so I did kind of like Glee and Annoyed, and I didn't really draw a lot of the actual like 2 pictures together because I didn't have enough time, but I drew this one that's both of them.
Ooh, okay.
She kind of has like, it's like a moment where she's being hugged and she's pretending that she doesn't like it, but she actually does. So she's pretending to be annoyed, but she's actually happy. So yeah.
Awesome. All right then. So who else?
Hi.
Hey.
So I just scribbled. So I did sad, emotions, different things, different angles, different physical movements.
Cool.
And then I did
about the larger body.
Right. I was trying to keep in mind all the things you said, so I tried not to make the same face over and over.
Cool. I get a very New Yorker vibe from your doodles.
Well, I am a New Yorker, but now I live in California. But this is me. That's the thing I always draw. So part of the challenge was not to draw me.
Right.
And I drew happy. And I tried to do extremely happy and then more subtly happy.
Good.
And make, different types of gestures of happy and laughing and stuff.
Of course.
And then when it came to combining them, it just got kind of confusing. So I just made people looking a little off.
Yeah, well, that's what it's all about. Just kind of seeing if you can how much you can mine from combining 2 different things. That's awesome.
That was fun. That was really fun.
Cool. Good job.
Thank you.
All right, who else?
Hi, I'm Rosalie. I'm from Las Vegas.
Hey, Rosalie.
And I did happy as my first emotion. So let's see. I have mildly pleased, deranged laughter, sleepy and satisfied. And then the last one was kind of fast, a little laugh. And then the second one was angry. So I have miffed, no, bad cat, bad driver.
Oh, wow.
Shouty and quietly mad. And then mixing happy and angry was pretty hard. Laughing but annoyed, sleepy but annoyed or grossed out, vengeful laughter, and laughing but also kind of confused. So quite a challenge.
Well, yeah, that's the interesting thing. When you're dealing with two emotions, it's kind of like you have two different levels. You know, like I'm thinking in terms of like a multi-track recorder, you got different levels you push up and down. You put more happy than mad, and then maybe you adjust it and it's more mad than happy. And playing around with how that translates physically, that can yeah, you'll be all at your drawing board all day figuring that out. So, but it's fun. Good job. All right. Anybody else? Go for it.
Hi. So I first did lonely, so I had some different versions of that. Trying to act like you're not lonely or feeling small, and then I had happy, so some dancing, some surprised happy, some calm happy, and then I combined them to, like, if you're running to see someone who you've been missing and you're happy, or you're just overwhelmed by being happy and lonely, or
So there's kind of a narrative developing as you get more complex and nuanced with body expression, huh?
Yeah, maybe so.
Cool.
Thanks.
All right. So okay, I think you're up next, Elora Silverman.
All right. So I did pensive, and I did sleepy, and then I did pensive and sleepy.
Pensive and sleepy. All right.
It was tricky.
Yeah. What was I guess out of both of those emotions you chose, which was the more challenging one for you?
Sleepy, because between sleepy and asleep is a very thin line.
Okay. Cool. Well, yeah, I think, in this day and age, right now in this moment, everybody's a little bit pensive. Not gonna lie. Different levels of pensiveness going on, but we will survive. All right, so we got room for three more. So Alex, your hand is up.
All right, so I started with scared cacti. Then I moved on to angry, but I wasn't really feeling it. And I landed on like kind of something like kind of resigned, disappointed, something in that vein.
Interesting. All right.
But thank you. I felt a lot of like evolution. The more I did it, the more I was like, oh yeah, okay, I feel like I'm starting to get the feel for this.
Right. Exactly. Sometimes it's just the act of moving the pen on the paper around just long enough, constant enough, and you're able to just kind of flow and relax a little bit and get into it. So cool. Good job.
Thanks.
All right, Barrett. Oh, I think your mic.
Can you hear me?
Yep, got you.
Started with some cartoon sketches, just different faces with a kind of a happy, like grin, like, oh, hi, how you doing? Type of face.
Right.
Moved on to doing a shocked and scared, especially this little guy here. I'm quite particular to him. Then combined the two to an emotion, which I'm not sure what you would call, of a happy, scared type of deal there. So
that is a tough one,
Just like,
what kind of situation would it be?
So those are the ones right there.
Well, yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
All right. So, all right. And lastly, Emma.
I found myself trying not to like make the faces that people had drawn. The one Barrett, you're little like in the corner, that guy, he made me laugh. I did let's see if I can see it. So I started with angry. This book is so big, it's hard to like see what you can see on here, but started with angry and then got to relaxed and was trying to think of like, what would that look like together? And it just kind of became contemptuous. For some reason, like, I always think of angry as high energy and relaxed as like the opposite of that. So what would it be like to be relaxed but still super angry? And trying to like put a name to that was really difficult, but just contemptuous.
Yeah, that is a very intriguing thing. You know, it's kind of like, you know, with tired and surprised, they kind of clash in a way. So trying to find that gray area where it's convincing and it still communicates both. But
I'm sure there's a name for it too. There's always the center of the Venn diagram somehow, and humans have felt so much for so long. I'm sure there's a name, but it's just finding it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good job. All right, then. So thank you, everybody, for sharing your work. If you didn't get a chance to share your work, or even if you already did, post it all over the grams, all over Facebooks, Twitters. Let people see what you've done. And tag us at Believer Mag, Frotoon Press. Don't forget the hashtag Friday Night Comics. And yeah, it was great leading you guys in this workshop. Hope you guys stay safe. Have a great weekend. Love you all. Thank you.
Give Dimitri a hand, y'all.
Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thanks
That
was
so
great
much.
fun.
Bye.
Bye.
So
much, Dimitri.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank
Thank
you so much.
Thank you.
Right on.
Bye.
That's it.
No.
I'm just waiting to see the countdown. 31, 30, 29, 28. Hi, Astronia.